Good evening. You and the Law is brought to you by the Chicago Bar Association. I'm Ed Snyder, a member of the Chicago Bar Association and attorney with the law firm of Arnstein & Lair. On today's program, we're going to be discussing legal issues concerning personal bankruptcy. These legal issues concerning personal bankruptcy have become very significant in recent years because of the current unfortunate condition of the U.S. economy. On our panel today, we have two attorneys who are well acquainted with these legal issues. On my left is attorney Michael Burr, who's with the law firm of Robert J. Adams & Associates. Mr. Burr is a member of the Chicago Bar Association, and his legal practice concentrates in the area of personal bankruptcy. On my right is attorney Tina Adams, who's also with the law firm of Robert J. Adams & Associates. Ms. Adams' practice also concentrates in the area of personal bankruptcy, and she's also a member of the Chicago Bar Association. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Michael, let's begin our discussion with these possible categories that might be available to someone who has financial problems, who wants to get into bankruptcy to resolve these financial problems. So please explain to us the different types of categories of bankruptcies that an individual might qualify for.
There are two or three main types. Chapter 7 is kind of the easiest, the simplest, and the most basic type. It's known as a liquidation. And in Chapter 7, you're over and done with in the process in about 2 or 3 months, maybe 4. But the idea is to just kind of get out of whatever bad situation you're in. Chapter 13, on the other hand, is a long-term payment plan, usually 3 to 5 years. And so it's used to try and pay back some debts that would not be taken care of in Chapter 7. Or perhaps if you have too much income, you also have to do Chapter 13 instead of Chapter 7. The third possibility is Chapter 11, which is generally seen as for corporations, but it's also for higher income people or people who at least have a lot of assets, such as real estate or perhaps just a lot of other debt, such as tax debt. The Chapter 13, though, and Chapter 7 really are the main ones for consumers. And anytime you do a Chapter 13 or Chapter 7 these days, you have to do a thing called the means test, which is a long, complicated form that basically determines what sort of rules apply to your case. You have to compare the the bankruptcy filer's income to the median income for the household size, and that kind of determines what kind of case you can file and furthermore what rules will apply to the case. But all these types of bankruptcies are in the Constitution, and they are provided for citizens of the United States. Generally, they are supposed to try and get you out of the pattern of just paying the debt that you have, that you got yourself into, and just try and repay that. The idea is to get out of that debt and be more productive in society and still buy products and help the economy go. So those are kind of the main aspects of bankruptcy.
So you have Chapter 7, Chapter 11, and a Chapter 13 of the different categories that an individual might qualify for. Tina, in the consideration of the different categories of bankruptcy, one of the elements that Michael mentioned was the median income for households. How does the median income test apply in these bankruptcy proceedings?
Well, it's called the means test, and the means test was developed to determine whether a person is eligible for a discharge in a Chapter 7 or whether they have the ability to repay their bills back in a Chapter 13 mainly. Basically, the IRS has standards, and the average income for an individual is all listed on the IRS standards.
So let me just say, what the bankruptcy procedures take into account the standards, the different standards set by the Internal Revenue Service.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All
the
right.
Internal Revenue. For instance, a family of one, a single person, if they make more than $46,000 a year, they may have to file a Chapter 13. They may not be eligible for a Chapter 7. Although there's special circumstances, in a way, we get around that because, Congress did provide for some exceptions to that. Family of 4 in Illinois, the median income would be $81,000. So if they made more than $81,000, they may have to be forced to file a Chapter 13.
And so that the means test includes the income limitations as well as the median income test. They're all sort of put together in terms of determining which category the person qualifies into.
Right, income, and plus also the IRS has standards on cost of living, how much transportation, how much food costs, the average person in Illinois. And so we have to go through that, all those guidelines, and see what the medium average expenses that the IRS tells us it is. So.
All right, very good.